Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com. Now here are your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. You got a couple of trees in the yard, maybe they're across the street, and you see that something's not looking very good on them. We're going to talk about some common tree diseases and problems and what you may be able to do once identifying those diseases or problems have come to be. So let's talk about one of the more common ones that many people have heard of or maybe experienced, which is emerald ash borer.
Yep. So the EAB or emerald ash borer is it bores into ash trees. And actually there's a few different, insects or whatever that bore into trees, but this is the most common known one because it's an invasive species. And if you have a tree that is susceptible to, maybe it's a more, I think, what is it, like a softer wood?
Yeah.
You may want to watch for that. So
there are ways to take care of it or to treat it if caught early enough. And then once there's kind of a turning point, once it gets to a certain point, they're unsavable.
Right. So yeah, you want to prune back any branches that have been possibly infested and you can remove up to 25% of the tree's foliage. So then the other thing is that if the infestation is in the trunk of the tree, you would call an arborist, and then they can. Now
hold on. When you say arborist, not Jim Bob, that's got a truck that comes one day and never returns again.
Right.
Certified arborist.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
Just because Jim Bob only charges you a 25 and a nickel, there's a reason why he's cheap, because he doesn't come back and he does a poor job at it. You want somebody that knows what they're doing, because the goal of this is to treat the tree. Trees are very valuable to your property, whether you're living there forever or you intend to sell the property. There's a lot of value in a very old tree, and if we can save that tree and get an extra 5 or 10 years out of it, it makes a very big difference.
Right. So you'd call an arborist, or you can also prevent infestations by keeping your trees healthy. So if you hear about an outbreak in your area, then you might want to spray the tree. Some people will tent the tree, or what's it called? Put a net around it.
Okay.
That's the thing. So if you find out that there's emerald ash borer damage in your area, you could try to prevent it.
All right. Let's see. What else tar spots, maple trees.
Yeah. So tar spot.
Yeah. Explain what they are.
It's a maple and sycamore trees, actually. And It's not like tar on the leaves. It's like these little black, you look at the leaf and you'll see a black dot. It's usually kind of in the center of the leaf. And what this is, it's a fungal disease, but it's not harmful to the tree. It's not harmful to you. It's not harmful to the soil around your tree. It's not harmful to anything.
Bringing it, and we get this question a lot whenever it's in the fall time. My tree has the maple spot on it. Is it okay to put in the garden for mulch? And it is totally okay, because that disease is not relatable to the plants or the soil that's in your garden. So it's totally okay to mulch it, or just put them in as full leaves and utilize that as mulch. So there's not any problem with that.
Right. So there's no problem. You'll see this up here usually in like late spring or early summer. If you've never had it on a maple tree or a sycamore tree.
Good for you.
Good for you. But yeah, it's not a problem. So another problem is compacted soil. Not necessarily a tree problem, but it could be a problem, like not a disease or whatever, but
underlying condition.
It's an underlying condition. So it's what happens is that most people, if you have a tree, you might be hanging out underneath that tree, compacting the soil, especially if that tree is younger.
Using large equipment to mow around the tree.
Yeah.
And then you've got the roots that are starting to pierce out. Or what other people, and then some people will go, okay, well, we'll fix this problem. I'll just mulch around the tree. And then they put 4 cubic yards of mulch around a tree and make it go up the stem 3 foot, which is volcanic mulching or volcanic mulch. And that is detrimental to the tree almost, if not more, than the compaction of the soil, because that mulch gets moist around the bark of the tree. Your mulch should be 2 or 3 inches, and that's it. It shouldn't go up the tree. What happens is the fibrous roots start girdling around the big roots and choke them out because it's growing into the mulch, and then the mulch gets wet, and then you get rodents, and then the mold and fungal problems occur in the bark as up the trunk where mulch shouldn't be, and then you've got a terrible problem that you're dealing with in addition to what other problems you may already be trying to combat.
You're pretty passionate about that mulching.
Well, there's municipalities of people who have gone to school to do this, and they do it wrong every single time. Big cities, parks have, ruined trees.
Business parks.
Yeah.
Landscape companies. So anyway, okay, so if you
now back to the tree problem.
Now back to the tree problem. If you feel you have soil compaction, sometimes this also occurs with newer houses too, because a lot of these newer houses are built quickly. And
topsoil is removed.
Yeah.
They've had all kinds of equipment come in, from concrete trucks to backhoes and everything else, and just has, smushed the soil to no end. And they've already scraped all the good stuff off of it anyway. So that is also a problem, as well.
Right. So, what you can do is you can try to loosen the soil to reduce compaction. So you can take like a fork or something and go out there around the base of the tree and kind of loosen the soil gently. But you can also do what's called vertical mulching. Do you know what vertical mulching is?
Okay, sure. What is vertical mulching?
Vertical mulching is when you take something like an auger, like the power planter earth auger, and you drill holes into the soil around the tree.
Not in the roots.
Not in the roots.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's going to be, you're going to nick something, but
yeah.
That's what we want to do is we want to kind of like aerate, like you aerate the yard with an aerator. You're doing the same around the tree.
But you're going to add in some sort of porous material.
Right.
Whether that be compost, but that way you're not disturbing the soil that's there too much. You're just adding some nice porous material to help kind of loosen that compaction.
Well, also, if you've got a couple of, a half a yard of compost and you put it around a tree, a couple inches around the base of the tree and just let her set for 6 months, it's amazing how much nature takes that compost down and aerates the soil all by itself with microorganisms and worms and the rain. It does a really neat thing all by itself. So takes all the work out of it for you. You just need to stay off of it.
Right. Yep.
Well, let's deal with Dutch elm disease. There's another problem that some of you are probably facing right now, and you're looking at a tree in your yard that has it.
All right. Yep. So this is it's a fungal disease, but it's these bark beetles spread it. So they spread it through inside the tree. They spread it inside the roots of the tree. They spread it everywhere.
Well, this is also whenever you see those public service announcements, do not bring firewood, don't carry firewood from your, all this stuff. This is the reason why.
Right. That's why. Same thing with
it's just like whenever you cough on somebody, they get whatever you've got and they cough on it's the same thing. You're spider webbing it out. So keep it, where it's at.
Right. So yeah, so that's one thing. And then once these bark beetles carry it around, it gets into the vascular system of the tree, which is what carries the water through the tree, and then that disease continues to move around. So you want to make sure that you're looking for problems. If you think your tree has this problem, you want to remove any branches that would be infected. Well,
and we want to also look at a certified arborist as well.
Yeah.
Because, there's great things on the internet and you can call people, out and go, oh, that's what it looks. It's a very, very good investment to get a professional's opinion, because if you do this wrong, your tree is dead. And if you don't do anything, your tree is probably dead too. So you want to make the right moves and do them correctly. A little investment goes a long way when it comes to tree maintenance.
Right. So definitely consider an arborist.
And there's a lot of great ones out there.
Yeah, for sure.
What else we have here?
Yeah, so Dutch elm disease is spread through the roots and then the vascular system. And you can purchase, if you want to plant a tree, you can purchase resistant cultivars of that elm tree, but it's not guaranteed. But you can
it gives you a better chance.
Right. And then so you basically, if you feel you have a problem with a tree, you want to definitely reach out to an arborist or tree service, you will have the information that you need, and they can take a look.
Now, I do know, and you can take this for face value, or you can do your research. If you've got a tree that's got Dutch elm disease or emerald ash borer, and it's dead, you can do two things to eliminate that disease in that wood. Burn the wood or shred it up. When you shred it up, it kills and breaks apart, and there's no more of the problem. If you burn it, it disappears and no more of the problem. So those are two ways to eliminate, if the tree is already dead, to get rid of the problem, to try to prevent it from spreading to other trees of like variety on your property.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.